I'm so excited to be here with you guys. My name is Zuberi Williams. I go by Zoo. Most folks call me Judge Zoo. So you can never have to worry about how you have to say it. There's names I don't want to be called, but I think most of y'all know what those names are. So don't call me that, it will be fine. I'm so excited to be here at the National Pre-Law Conference. I think it's amazing. I want to thank the folks and Tammy and Evangeline and all the folks who had confidence to bring me back to try to tell you guys some what I think are secrets, but stuff that you should know. I don't do a really big intro because most folks Google me and know a little bit about me before we come forward. So let me first say this. I love social media. So a lot of this stuff's going to be on social media. I have two platforms that people can follow me on. The first one is LinkedIn because it's professional. The second one is Facebook because I'm old. So you should go ahead and follow me. I go ahead and add folks, and that's how folks really engage in me. I tell folks to add me and then also set it to get notifications, because all of the job opportunities, the internships, where I'm speaking, what I'm doing, things that I think are important to all folks, but especially folks who look like us, I'll put up there. And I'm very candid about what I said and say, because I think it's important that people understand that not all judges are the same way. And part of my larger vision is to have the folks that are joining me today at this conference become my colleagues. Hopefully some of you will not only be my colleagues, hopefully some of you will be my bosses. That's how far I expect you guys to go. That is what I expect from you moving forward. But then the question is, how to get there? Now, there's a lot of stuff I can talk about, and you can go back and listen to me for other things, but I think the most important thing that I'm going to talk about today is clerkships. Clerkships are not internships, right? So fundamentally, I'm going to tell you some basic things where people sometimes get it wrong. Some people say, I'm clerking for this judge, and you're still in law school. The judge may call it clerkship. Your school may call it clerkship, but that's not what a clerkship is. That's not the clerkship that I am talking to you about today and encourage you to do. This clerkship is after you graduate. When you're in school, it's typically an internship, an externship, or maybe sometimes they couch it in the word clerkship. But when people in the law say clerkship, they're talking about after you graduate from law school, usually a 1-year or 2-year apprenticeship with a judge. That's what a clerkship is. Let me tell you, when most folks find out about clerkships, and when I say most folks, I'm not just talking about folks who already know about it because their parents have been, when their families have been blessed to have lawyers and connections and access. I'm talking about folks like y'all. That's who I'm talking to. The first time most of y'all hear about clerkships is in your 2nd and 3rd year of law school. It comes up in the conversation of career services as an option to do when you graduate. Maybe there's a professor that will pull you aside and say, hey, you want to do this? Or maybe you've had somebody talk about it before you got into law school and you really didn't know about it. But mostly it's when you're looking for opportunities and careers after you've already been in law school, after you've gone through the first year, which is hard. But at that point, now you're looking at and trying to figure out what will put you in the best position to be a clerk. Here is the secret. Here is the okie doke that people tell you. They say, don't worry about clerkships until after your first year. Okie doke. Don't fall for it. I'm one of the few judges in America who are going to tell you that. I think it's important to get really good grades for so many reasons in your first year. But let me tell you, you're similarly situated folks at other universities and law schools, other folks who don't look like you and predominantly white institutions have already started. They already know the value of it. They've already said, well, I'm going to do something before law school. I'm going to do an internship maybe here and there. I'm going to try to see what it's at so I can grace myself with a particular judge. Don't fall for the okie doke. And don't go back and say Judge Williams says don't focus on your first year classes, because I'm not saying that at all. They are so important. They're the most important thing you're doing. But clerkships change the arc of your career. And so they're important too. Here are the things that folks will say to you to convince you that clerkships matter, right? And I know y'all heard this. Everybody put their hands up when they hear one of these. I'm going to put it on so I can see everybody's hands. There we go. Everybody put your hands up when we say this. So you can use the little emoticons if you want to, right? Clerkships are good because they teach you how to write and research. How many folks have heard that? Yeah, good many of you, right? Clerkships are good because it lets you see what's going on in chambers. And not a lot of lawyers let you know that, right? Y'all heard that too, right? Clerkships are good because they allow you to network, right? You get a judge, the judge likes you, he, she, or they can speak up for you, but they can take you around and you're with that judge, right? Clerkships are good, it's the last one, because they allow you to see the things that lawyers do that are good and not good, right? What I've just told you now is what most folks say. It is vanilla. It's basic, as the young folks used to say. I don't know what y'all say now, but you used to say it's basic. Here is what clerkships actually can do. Clerkships change the arc of your career because folks in the industry value them. Partners at law firms, folks in government agencies, nonprofits, whatever it is that you think you want to do, hire clerks first. People who've clerked first over you. There's a certain thought that clerks, if you clerk for a judge, that you are better, that you are competent, that you can do things with the ground running. I'm sorry, hit the ground running. Additionally, it's more than you just having a judge that will stick up for you. It's more than that. It's that you can have a hero in your camp that people want to listen to because they don't care what you have to say. You think you're good, but it's another thing to have a state or federal judge to say, this person is excellent. Look at the folks who become judges in the federal system. Look at the partners of the firms you want to go to. I guarantee you the majority of them clerked. Want me to tell you a little okie doke? Let me give you a second one, just because I'm feeling friendly today. How is it that a lot of Black folks and people of color and different sexual orientations and women and young folks and old folks, all those folks who aren't the traditional thought of when people think of law students, what is the thing that gets in the way of their clerkship the most? I got all these loans. I have all this money. My friends at the big firms are making $190,000 or $200,000 a year. That money looks good. I ain't lying. I went to Venable. I was at Venable. I understand that, right? But that's the okie doke. The okie doke is that folks who clerk have more earning potential and go faster to being partners than folks who don't. Now, there's some rare occasions, right? You know, some so-and-so went up. But let me tell you, that is the experience. Those are the stats. That's really what's going on. Plus, a lot of folks don't know that when you clerk on the federal courts and for some state courts, but mostly for federal courts, and depending on how up you go in the federal courts, district, circuit court, court of appeals courts, You get bonuses, big bonuses. So if you're focused on money, which I'm not, but if you are, and you're thinking about, I got to make that money coming out of law school, I got to hit those loans, I have people who are counting on me to do it. You have to play the long game. That's what they're playing and winning, and you're not. I'm gonna go to the law firm, I'm gonna work my butt off, and by my 8th or 10th year, I'm gonna be a partner. How about you clerk first? Sign a big bonus, come in as a 2nd or 3rd year, and have your option about where you're gonna go after that. That is the value of clerkships that folks know that you don't know. But they get started long before they're in law school because somebody has told them that that's what you want to do. It is not their second choice. I'm going to try to apply to the firm and I'm going to apply for some clerkships. No. They're ravenous. I want to clerk when I get out. That's what I want to do. I want to find a federal or state judge. I want to clerk for them. That's what you'll hear them when you get in. And you'll be like, what are you talking about? I'm going to go somewhere at this big firm and make this money. And then you'll be like, go do that. Go do that. That's good for you. And they're going to hustle into the clerkships. Because they know if you both go to the same firm and they have a clerkship, it's more likely they're going to be your boss, even though y'all graduated at the same time. Clerkships are so important. I clerked twice. I clerked on the state for the chief judge of the Maryland Court of Appeals, Robert M. Bell. And then I clerked on the federal for, now they're both retired, but Gerald Bruce Lee on the Eastern District of Virginia, the Rocket Docket, with terrorism cases, bank robbery cases, spy cases. They both had their different parts. One was appellate, one was trial. Right? Folks say, Judge, well then how do I get a clerkship? I'm in my first year. I didn't do as well as I think I wanted to do. And you go into your Office of Career Services, and what do they tell you? You say, Judge Williams was on this thing before I got into law school. And Judge Williams told me clerking is the ish, right? And I need to go and do it. But my grades aren't there. That I don't have the grades that my peers have. And so I'll walk into the Office of Career Services, who take a look at my first year grades and say, clerking is not for you. Try to do these other things. You don't have the GPA to do it. And then you slunk your shoulders and you walk away. And you think, man, I missed out on this big opportunity. Okie Doke number 3, they are incorrect. Plenty of judges don't focus on grades. May not be the Supreme Court one that you want, but there's value in clerking state and federal. There are a lot of judges out there like me who are looking for folks that they can be helpful to be excellent in whatever they decide to do, who are striving to change the complexion of big law, of the judiciary, of the nonprofit world in a real way. I'm not alone, because if I was alone, I would not be here today, because they made a way for me. Don't count yourselves out. So many women and Black folks and people of color and different sexual orientations, the biggest thing that they do that's a mistake is they count themselves out even before the race has begun, which is one of the biggest okie dokes for folks like us and other folks in America. I don't belong. I can't do it. I messed up when I was younger and the chance is gone. Don't believe them. Think about the folks who said that you would not be able to be in a situation you are, looking at law schools and trying to make a difference right now. Some of them were in your own family. Some of them were in your own community. And yes, some of them are externally. Don't let them get you in that way, because it's the okie doke to deny you even trying. It's easy for them to say, oh, well, you didn't try. Who knows what will happen? The second thing I'll say with that is that I have clerked with people. I've seen clerks. I've hired clerks. I've been doing this for a long time now. 6 years on this bench before administrative law judge and doing all types of stuff. Do you know how many ways that judges make for mediocre majority folks that come clerk for them that have half the grades you do, that have been through half of the hardships that you've been into, that don't understand when people come in and say something, that it's not just those people being rude or why aren't they doing it this way, but understand because they've had somebody in their family who's the same, or they've been the same. They lack the proximity to life and color, but they get those jobs. You got to put in. Try to get good grades. I expect excellence that way, but that does not stop you from pursuing this. If your career services says that, you know what you say? Thank you very much. I'm going to apply anyway. I appreciate your counsel. I'm going to apply. And I guarantee you, once you get that clerkship, they're going to be calling you to help get other people in. Oh, this is great. I don't know how you did it. I know how I did it. I didn't listen to you. That's the first step. Second step is that I went and tried to pursue judges that I was interested in. You got to find, before law school and in law school, judges who you think that you want to clerk for, that can coach you, that can build you up, that can look at your writing and resources and researching and tell you when it's insufficient, to be hard on you, not because of some Socratic method, some 1L book, right? Some paper chase movie, but because we care, because we want to retire. And we want people to come behind us and actually represent. There's no leaving folks behind, not in my philosophy. But you got to seek them out. You got to look for them. You got to ask people. You got to research, Google them, find out. I'm not hard to find. I have so many colleagues who'll be willing to at least bring you in for a conversation or a Zoom conversation, right? You may not get it ultimately, but there's value in learning how to do that. Let me see what time it is. Oh, 8:19. Yeah. So let me tell you the story of one of my judges, about why I give these talks, why I push hard for all people, but especially people who've been left out previously. I'm focused on helping everybody. I have white interns, Black interns, all different nationalities, religion, sexual orientation. I don't exclude anybody, but I'm also aware of opportunities that folks aren't given, and I want to cure that. Joe Bruce Lee, right? I always talk about him because I learned so much in the Eastern District of Virginia, the Rocket Dock. He would not only scrutinize my writing, my thinking, my research, and I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I felt horrible. I said, how can I miss that? I think I'm smart, but I miss these things, and it's because he was an excellent attorney first, and then became an excellent federal judge. He would take us also to the different speaking engagements he had, and he would say, hey, come with me, stand next to me. Do you know how valuable it is to have nobody in your family be a lawyer? I'm from a family full of teachers. To not be able to navigate your way through law school, but still kind of have a feeling of not knowing where you belong, what you can do, and to have a federal judge Say, stand next to me. When all these partners come to him at all these functions because they want to get on his good side, for him to say, have you met Zoo Williams? He's my law clerk, and he's excellent. That is something that you cannot categorize, or you can't quantify, not categorize, you can't quantify about how great it is, how great of a feeling it is, and how it launches you in their minds. Because as we know, for them, you're invisible. Clerking and clerking for the right judge keeps you from being invisible. When you follow me on the social media, you say one of the things I say are tiny victories. Another thing I say is hang your lights on me. All of y'all have lights that are shining, and you want to hang it on somebody so somebody can see you shine with everybody else. Judge Lee was that person for me. Don't count him out. You don't see him, he's standing right next to me. The last thing I will say is the fraternity, sorority, or whatever you want to call it, of your law clerk tree. These are the people who came before you and the people who came behind you. If you're clerking on either the federal or state court, they are geniuses with helping you get jobs. But more important than helping you get jobs, helping you to navigate the arc of your career. See, that's what I want you guys to focus on. It's difficult in this moment to not focus on jobs, even before you get into law school, right? Because you want to make your mama proud, that cousins count on you. You are the lawyer in your family, even though you haven't gone to law school yet, or in law school and trying to get through. You're that person for them. And there's pressure for you to get a job. But here's what I know about us and about Americans. The arc of our career and the good that we can do doesn't stop at our first job. You want to put yourself in a position so that when you're 50 and 60 years old, that you're doing the best you can do for doing the most good for the most number of folks. You want to put yourself in a way where if you have to walk away from it all because you have a family obligation, or you want to stick to some ethical principle that you have, that you can do that. When you have a clerkship under your belt and you have clerks who are looking out for you, who graduated and have gone on and been at firms for 20 years, they may say, don't take the job at my firm. Here's what you want to do. It's that type of advice that we haven't had from our parents necessarily, grandparents, and other folks who are part of our family, just because we haven't had them know how to do this process. But you can steal it from folks in your family tree for your clerkship. And why would they do that for you over everybody else? Because your shared experience with the judge and the intensity brings you together. So you could hear me say this today. And you could think Judge Williams was a really good speaker, but I don't know, right? It's my story. It's how I got on the bench at 36. 36. I've been on the bench now for 6 years. I'm about to turn 42. I'm at the top of my profession, and I can retire. Other people have good advice, but I'm telling you what worked for me. Nothing I can say here is going to mean don't get good grades, don't network appropriately. But if you're talking about the stuff that people aren't telling you, those first 4 things, as opposed to the 3 things that I just told you about why it matters, then you're missing the boat. One last thing I got to say, because they only gave me 30 minutes and there's 4 minutes left. I looked at the clock, right? 4 minutes left. I know there's a lot going on right now. I feel you. This summer, I had the same heartache that you had. Anger, misplacement, trying to figure out what the future looks like. Now is not the time to get down on yourself. Now is the time when we need heroes like you to stand up. Now is the time where we have to think about not only what we can do for our family, but what we can do our community and how we can help build America, because we've been building America since we got here. Not everybody is going to like what we have to say, and they're going to Zoom bomb us and all this other stuff that happens. But let me tell you something. For you guys, the future is bright. And every victory they think that they're getting that is awesome, we're getting tiny victories. So when you ask the question, what does the future look like? How can we endure what's going on here? Why are people hating us in this way, or at least misunderstanding us at the very least? The answer is, the future looks like you. And if ain't nobody told you that, I done told you that today. Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. I know it's 8 p.m. and people don't want to be on it. Thank you very much.